Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Adobe live stream here on Behance. And today I'm very happy to be joined by Margherita. Welcome, Margherita.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much.
Hey, it's so good to have you here. And so good to see so many of you in the chat already today. I can see you all there bright and early, ready for our Illustrator magic stream today. As you may have noticed, my voice is is disappearing slowly the more I shout at the kids during half term. So I will try to, refrain from being too loud today on the stream. But of course, I want to ask all of your amazing questions to Margherita as we get into Instagram and some of the amazing things that Margherita will be sharing with you today. Quick hello to everybody in the chat. I can see Andreas, Caroline, Kirsty's in there. Hello to Emma as well. Hey, Sandrine. It's so good to see, as I say, all of you in there today. We've got such a lovely community and I'm excited for what we're going to share today, Margherita, in Illustrator. Can you let us know a little bit more about it?
So I do daily videos, tutorials on TikTok, where I teach how to use Illustrator, Photoshop, and basically any Adobe software, but mostly Illustrator and Photoshop. And all my videos don't go past a minute long, because you can post now 3-minute videos on TikTok, but I don't want to keep people there watching videos for 3 minutes. I think that's more of like a YouTube or somewhere else, but on TikTok, content's so fast. So they're all short 1-minute videos in which I teach short tips or tricks or like cool effects you can do in really fast. So today I've prepared some of the effects that I made in some of my videos, and some are fun ones.
Amazing.
I have a favorite tool, which is the blend tool in Illustrator, and I'm obsessed with it. I basically do all my effects using that. So we'll go through that as well.
Definitely. And I've already said in the green room today that I'm writing down everything you say today, Margherita, because I am going to be making myself a badge in Illustrator, which I'm designing, called the Snack Sheriff, as that seems to be what I'm doing these days, managing the amount of snacks that are delivered in my So I'm writing down all tips, and the blend tool is definitely one that I need to know more about. So, what's it called? TikTok is vastly becoming a really big learning tool. And it used to be dancing and singing, which is still something I do it for. And I still, the comedy videos where you can act things out, that's me all over. But there's so many ways to learn things and hacks that it's so handy, life hacks as well. So where do you find is the most traction, like with the most, like the videos? Is it in illustration content? Is it Photoshop tips? Like, where are you finding, which are more popular?
I think both Photoshop and some of Illustrator tutorials I made are the ones that have gone viral. They're usually the very colorful ones and fun stuff. Like, for example, this one went viral, which is like a fat gradient, or also this hairy stuff.
I love this one.
So probably the more fun
go viral. Yeah, how would you class one of your TikTok videos being a success? Is it a certain amount of views or a certain amount of likes that you're looking to achieve?
I'd probably say above like 10,000 views is already really good for me. But some of my videos have gone up to like 3 million or 2.5 million, which is crazy to me. Wow. I also try to answer to all of the comments, and that's where I find lots of inspiration, is because people comment under my videos and they're asking me like, how do I do this effect? How do I do this effect? So I already have the ideas for the next videos. But yeah, some of them are up to 3 million, which is crazy.
That is mad, isn't it? I mean, it's the outreach that you can get with TikTok now. And,
exactly.
There's so many things. And you see lots of collaborations on TikTok as well. Like, I've noticed a lot of people working together to either make things, build things. Have you collaborated with anyone on TikTok yet?
Not yet, not yet, but hopefully soon. I mean,
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's always, always time. And I can't believe that I mean, you're so consistent. You said you're making 3 videos a day for TikTok.
yes, yeah, it's getting pretty tiring, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been doing this since the beginning of February.
Yeah. That's so
So
good though.
I think I looked the other day and I posted more than like 700 or 800 videos in like 7 months,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
crazy.
That's loads. That's loads, especially if you're replying to all of the comments on each one as well
Yeah.
and engaging with your viewers. And, it's definitely a commitment for sure.
Yeah.
And so you're looking to reduce that then to deliver less videos now?
I'm not sure yet. I've started to incorporate more like different formats. So I started doing this series, let's call it a series, in which I mash up 2 famous logos.
That's cool.
So instead of a tutorial, sometimes I post that. And some other times I just answer questions that I get asked. So I'm trying to.
Amazing. That's so cool. So what are we going to do today on the stream? I'm sure everybody is waiting. People are already chatting about, your work. Laura says, this is real hard work. Kudos to you for doing that. Sandrine is inquiring about the effects that you're using in some of these already. So where are we going to start today, Margherita?
I think we should start with the bottom over here, which is the blend tool, which is my favorite. And this is actually, it's so easy to make. I think it's going to take like 30 seconds. So you basically start off by making 2 circles and filling them in with gradients. And you can choose whatever colors you want. I used purple before. Let's just put 2 random colors. Oops. Right. I'm gonna go with blue and red. And you duplicate it. Then you select both of them. You get the blend tool, make the blend. Then you go back to the blend and blend options. And we need it to be on specified steps. So we're gonna add about 100, I think, or maybe 150. You see how it's gonna smoothen it out? It basically adds a bunch of copies of your circles. So if you have 10, it's gonna add 10 copies of the circle in between your first and your second circle. And you're basically done already. You just have to get the brush tool and draw the path you want your little worm to make. So I'm just gonna make a wiggly line. Then you select your blended circles and your line. You go to object, blend, replace spine, and that's it. It's that easy.
Oh my goodness.
And it's so nice because it gets you that like 3D looking effect. But it's so easy to make actually.
That was so fast.
Yeah. The cool thing about these is you can still edit them later. So if you want to make one of the circles really small, or if you want to change the colors of it, you can still edit all of it and make some weird looking stuff.
Wow. Jackie says, wow. David says, cool. And how would you use this then, Margherita? Like, is this like a background, a sticker, an animation? Like what would you? Yeah.
Sometimes I'll also use it for text, because you can, if you write, let's say I write, I don't know, the letter E with my brush, you can then do the same thing. So select your font or your letters and this. Obviously, if you have to make the circles small, but you still get that 3D looking effect on your text, which is pretty cool. So yeah, stickers, text, I usually use it everywhere.
This is very cool. And this, I mean, you can see why this would be a really easy tutorial in TikTok within a minute. That was a
Yes,
few
exactly.
clicks and you were done. Really simple, very straightforward, and it's so many use cases.
Exactly, yeah.
Totally. Kath says, you can make your own font.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Definitely. You could replace any type of path or line or whatever with the same technique. And from here, you can make something else that is really cool, which is, I think, my favorite effect in all of Illustrator and my tutorials, which is this, how to make furry stuff. So you can actually make anything furry in Illustrator, and it's very easy. So you can also use that effect on anything. I'm going to use it on this guy. So you just go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and Roughen. And if you add the detail to almost the end, you get this crazy hairy effect. And then you can change the length of the hair.
This is so quick.
It's just one effect. But it's so cool. You can make anything. You can make teddy bears or bees, or I used it to make bees.
This is perfect for that. And we did earlier in the year, we did a type challenge where we had to do all of the letters of the alphabet and then some numbers. I don't know about anyone else on this, watching the stream today, but I'm thinking that this is perfect for that. Totally.
You can definitely make this in with letters or any type of font or
amazing. And can you light this up and make it into a neon or like any other effect? Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of, it's a pretty complicated shape. So if I were to add more stuff to it, my computer would probably crash. But I guess you could actually add something else to it. Definitely. I mean, why not?
Yeah. Kath also says, bring it into AR. That would be interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, how easy it would be to bring this into something like Aero when you put it in your living, essentially in front of you, moving, and
that would be really cool. Also,
also
maybe like trying to animate it in some way. That would be cool. I mean, I'm guessing you could probably do so much with these effects. They're actually so quick and easy to make.
Yeah. And Jackie asks, can you expand it or join it to make it a single shape?
You could expand it, but since it's a gradient, you would get a really complex shape once you expand it, because it's a gradient. But you can make different shapes. You can make also hairy spheres, circles, or anything.
See, Sandrine is asking you to give it eyes in the chat, because Oliver is suggesting if you give it a face and you make it wiggle in After Effects, that could be a lovely little caterpillar. Amazing. It does though, doesn't it? I can't believe how quick this was, by the way, Margherita. I mean,
it's really crazy.
And Laura asks a really good question. How do you come up with so many ideas for your tutorials every day, especially as you've done 3 a day since February? Where'd you get the inspiration from?
So at the beginning, I just had all these ideas. I really don't know how, but after a while that I started running out of ideas, I started looking into YouTube for inspiration, or I usually look at a lot of Instagram, TikTok as well. There's lots of other graphic designers on TikTok. So I watch those. Pinterest. Also from the comments under my videos, with people asking me like, how do I make this? How do I make this? So I already have the tutorial ready for that. Basically I just look a little bit everywhere. And I also spend all day working on Photoshop and Illustrator. I also work a full-time job, so I work a 9-to-5
Oh,
job.
wow.
So I'm all
my
day on
goodness.
Photoshop.
Oh my goodness, you're actually superhuman, right?
I find
You've got a full
inspiration
9 to
also
5 job.
since I'm working for eight hours a day on Photoshop and Illustrator. Most of the time I find like really cool effects on my own.
Amazing. This is so good. And the steps that you went through, I know that Jackie asked, what were the super fast steps that you took to make this? It was really simple, wasn't it? Where did you start? It was
I made 2 circles,
yeah.
added a gradient to them. I filled it in with a gradient instead of a solid color. And then
Yeah.
I blended them together with the blend tool. So I'm going to show you another effect you can make with the blend tool.
Yes. I'm writing all of this down, by the way, Margherita. I'm just, honestly, I'm amazed at how quick it is. I like things really quick.
So you can grab your pen tool, you can grab whichever tool you prefer, like your brush tool, whatever is fine. Just you create a path. For example, I'm going to make the letter A. So I'm just going to draw a path. I'm going to make it white so we can all see it. So really simple, really easy. I made an A. You make your same 2 circles. This time we don't fill them in with anything. We just leave a white stroke or whatever color you prefer. Doesn't have to be white. You make a copy. And then you do the same thing. You select both. You go to Object, Blend, Make. Then you go to Blend Options, Specified Steps, and let's add about maybe 200. You can always go back and change it. That's the really cool thing about it. You then select your letter and your blend, and you do the same thing. You go to Replace Spine over here, and you get this really cool tube-looking letter. You can also go to the blend tool by double-clicking over here on this little icon. And if you want, you can add more steps and see how the shape changes. And you get this really cool looking effect.
Very cool.
So
and
they're
again,
all so
fast. Really quick and easy.
Exactly.
Nice.
Let's make this. I call this the tie-dye effect. So I think this is even easier than the blend tool one. Always start off with a circle. And I'm going to make one like a really small one. I don't even know if you can see it. Yeah. And I'm going to fill it in with a gradient. So I'm going to add a bunch of colors here to make it look more like a tie-dye effect. Okay, so we have our tiny little circle. You go to Effect, Distort and Transform, Transform. And we want to scale it up both horizontally and vertically. And we're going to add lots of copies. So maybe let's make this. Scale it up by 2% and add lots of copies. Maybe you give it an angle, so twist it a little bit. It's already really cool.
Very
and then
cool.
You can just add a zigzag effect to it, make it look like it's more tie-dye. So you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, Stuart says it's a powerful bit of kit, Illustrator.
It is.
I agree.
It really is.
And Kath says, it's vector-based, so it can be scaled up without any issue. It's cool.
You can also change the color if you want. So you can change the colors if you don't like them at the end, make them something else. Um, and also you can go back to here is the appearance panel. So if you ever apply an effect, you can always click on this little icon, which is the appearance panel. You can click on the effect that you've applied to go back and change it. So all the effects you apply aren't final. You can always go back and change them if you want the size to be bigger, or if you want to change it. So that's why it's really cool.
Very cool. I like that. I like how it is now. Oh, that zigzag on the edge, that you just had was really good. Yeah. Looks so good, I think.
And the cool thing is you're never going to get it the same way as it is right now. So it's always going to be different, which is actually pretty cool.
And you make all of these for TikTok and your tutorial videos. Do you ever print any of these designs or anything like that?
I started printing some of the ones I preferred, some of the ones I like the most.
And do you find there's any issues with printing? I think that was one of the questions that came in, I think from Stuart, who said, I wonder if there are any issues. Yeah.
If you set up your document properly, no, there's absolutely no issues. It's just like printing any kind of poster or any kind of photo, image or anything. You just have to set up your document properly. So like anything else.
Definitely. I love the Adobe Live ones that you've got going on there. They're very shimmery. And you got a lot of the, they're so cool.
Which ones?
So the one that looks like it's going down steps, the third in from the top.
Oh, this one.
Love it. Yeah.
This is actually, these are also easy actually to make. Let's do this one next. So for this one, you just grab the type tool and write your text, make it white, and you scale it up however you want. So they're all going to have to be, every step has to be a separate word. So I'm going to duplicate this and write live. And then I can just select these two and duplicate them again. So since it's steps, you gotta select the first one and skip the second. You're gonna select the third. Then you're going to go to Effect, 3D, Rotate. And from this drop-down menu, you're going to select Isometric Left. And that's it. Now you select the other two. And you go same thing, Effect, 3D, Rotate. And for this one, you're going to actually pick Isometric Top. So it's like you're getting the view from the top. And then you just place them next to each other.
Oh my goodness. My mind is blown about how easy this is. I mean, honestly, I was afraid of Illustrator for a really long time. And I find I was doing all the tasks that I should have been doing in Illustrator in Photoshop because I knew Photoshop. And there was always a long workaround. And I would show Tony and he was just like, Maddy, no, what are you doing? And I look at this and I think, oh my goodness.
It is. It's actually really easy. And there's very little steps you have to make. They're really simple effects, but they look good. What are you going to do? They look cool.
They look so cool. And you mentioned in the green room, Margherita, that you were thinking of, using After Effects in the future.
Yeah.
And I could really see this be, with the Adobe shooting off to the left and the live shooting off to the, like across the screen.
So I did some tutorials in After Effects. For example, I think I did this one. And I made it spin in After Effects. But I'm still learning. I'm not as good as I am in Illustrator and Photoshop yet. So I'm studying.
So cool though. And do you know what, Jane has asked a question, which I wanted to ask you earlier on, which is, how did you learn all of this? There's so much skill here. Like, how do you learn?
So I went to college for graphic design here in Florence. I learned some stuff, but not all of it. I then worked a couple of years freelance. That's where I had a lot of free time. So I spent all my days just playing around in Illustrator and Photoshop and watching video tutorials on YouTube or on Adobe. And I guess that's how I learned most of it, just on my own. And yeah, then I started working. So I'm on Photoshop and Illustrator every day for at least 10 hours a day. So
my goodness, yeah, because you mentioned that your 9 to 5 is
yeah,
you're in Photoshop, right? So
yeah.
what kind of things do you do with your normal line of work? Like, what do you do?
I work for this pretty big fashion company. So I do all types of banners, web banners. I edit some videos. I do all the emails, so all the newsletters, and all that stuff. So more Photoshop than Illustrator. But I think my favorite is Illustrator. So
yeah. Well, it's definitely, I mean, you show it so easily as well, though, which is great because it's really simple steps. So you mentioned then that earlier on that the bottom right, the design that we started with today was one of your favorites.
Yeah.
What are your other favorites in this list? Like, what do you?
Oh, I like this one. It's really easy. But you probably can't see. All right, now you probably can see it. So it's like stacked text. It looks pretty like it's from the 90s or from an old
Word
computer.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like it.
Yeah.
So this one's really easy as well. So type tool.
Mm-hmm.
You write your text. Let's give it less spacing. Okay. So you go back to the effects panel, 3D, rotate again. And you want it to be isometric top because you want the view to be from the top. So that's what this is basically. Then you go back to using the transform tool. So distort and transform. And we used the scale sliders before, but we're going to use the move one this time because we want the copies to move downwards. So we're going to move it vertically and we're going to add maybe 10, 20 pixels. And then you're going to add how many copies you want. You can then give it a stroke so you can see it better. And that's basically it. And you can stack all the text you want. You can add more stroke weight or whatever you want. You can make these closer together or further apart. So if we have 15 pixels here, if you make these less, you're going to have less space in between one copy and the other. And if you increase it, you get more space.
Right. I've only ever used this once before, and that was when I was doing, there was a picture where we had gambling chips in Vegas, and I had to stack them. And so I had them like this. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
it's neat.
It's so fast. How many steps? I think it's like 3 steps total to make it.
You know, there's a lot of chat in the chat here today, which is all about people coming from Photoshop and getting stuck into Illustrator, and it does feel like a big jump to start off with. And I'm with you all, by the way. I can see that, you know, the chat here, because it's definitely a different type of skill to learn, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But then once you're in, how easy it is. Like what you're showing here, you covered 4 different graphics already, and each one of these has taken 3 or 4 clicks or 4 steps, and then you're done. It's amazing once you know how, isn't it?
I think that's the best thing about Illustrator is that you can do so much with so few steps. Let's go on to the next one. Let's see. Oh, we can make this one, which is really cool. So for this, we're going to start off with a circle. So you're just going to make a circle and just give it a stroke color. We don't want to fill it in. We're then going to open this little panel, which is the stroke panel. And we're going to make it into a dashed line. You can then over here edit how long you want your lines to be by changing this, how much space you want to have in between your lines. If you click on here, you're going to have more circular ones because you're rounding the edges off, which is pretty nice. So let's say this, and then I'm going to change the profile to this first one, which is the width. That gives this really pretty cool effect that it's really thin on one side and really thick on the other. Nice. And then we're just going to use the transform tool again, and that's it. So no other effect, nothing crazy. So we're going to scale it horizontally and vertically. We're going to add our copies and change the angle of it.
Very cool. It's very Star Wars, this one. I don't know why. You know when
it is pretty.
Yeah,
it is pretty Star Wars looking.
It's so cool. And Margherita, I missed the live stream that you did with Joe Allen. And on that video, did you talk about how you make your videos and how you film those videos?
Yeah, and exactly. And how I edit them.
Oh, perfect. And please tell us, you know, on this stream, is it Rush that you're using, or Premiere Pro, or
Premiere Pro?
Premiere Pro. Amazing. I know that there was a question in the chat. I think here you go. Tim's added a comment on there. If you want to watch any of these streams back, everybody, you can find them all on YouTube. So if you want to see the chat with Margherita and Joe, that'll be in there definitely. Stuart says, "I am your father." Yeah. I've got the voice for that today. Very cool.
Let's go on to maybe this one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this looks good.
So for this one, we're going to start off with a line. So you grab the line segment tool you find over here, and you just make a regular white line, straight line. You're then going to transform it, move it vertically, and add a bunch of copies. Now we see the dotted line because it's from earlier, but we can remove this. Okay. Okay. So we have our bunch of lines. Then you go to, where was it? I've done so many of these effects. Sometimes I have to rewatch my own tutorials to remember.
Yeah, I'm a big note taker, so I have to go back through all of my books to look at where I've put it, which page. Yeah.
So you go to Object, Envelop, Distort, and you make with Mesh. You can decide how many rows and columns you want. Over here, you press OK when you're okay with it, and then grab the Direct Selection tool, which is this white little arrow over here. You can just click on singular points and just drag them wherever you want.
Wow.
It gives this really cool effect.
This would be cool with the letters. Again, I'm getting lots of ideas now for next year. And these letters, very cool.
It's so easy. So you could just pick and choose every single point and move it wherever you want. And I usually add like text going. Anyways, you can make so much stuff with these.
Really cool. And Jane, thank you so much. Jane has added the link to your other live stream that you did with Joe into the chat today. So if anybody wants to see the live stream that Margherita did with Joe Allen, talking about Premiere Pro and how Margherita makes her videos, then the link is in the chat. Thank you, Jane.
So what I usually do with this is also I add text to it. And so I just write the text. And then I grab the brush tool and draw a line that's following the design I made. And then you select your line and your text. I mean, you copy your text. You grab your type tool and you click on your path you made. And you can just copy and paste the text into it, into your line. So it's going to swap the line with your text.
Amazing.
And so you can make any type of design with this. You can like draw random shapes and just fill them in with text, or yeah. It is pretty cool.
Oh, you just copied and pasted the text to the path, and it's simple as
exactly.
That. What? Oh, I didn't know that.
There's also another cool type tool effect that I like, which is so you write your text with the regular type tool. Then if you hold down on the type tool, you'll find at the bottom this touch type tool. You can select every letter singularly and spin it or move it around wherever you want. So you can just randomly place your letters anywhere on your page, and it's still fully editable. So you haven't expanded your text, you haven't created the outlines, you haven't done anything of that sort. So you can just double click and change your text, which is so cool.
So cool.
And it's the effect that I used on this one.
That's cool.
So I basically use this touch type tool and just move my letters around. Which creates this weird looking but really cool effect. So remember what we did with the blend tool and the two circles. You can do that with text as well. So you make a copy of your text, and let's change the color of our second text. Let's make it pink. And this one will make black, like our background. You then select both, and we go back to the blend tool. Then blend options, and we're going to add more steps to make it look smoother. And now it's the same thing as before. So you're going to draw a path with your brush tool. Then you select your path and your blend, and you go and replace the spine. And you get this really cool text that's coming out of the background.
Very cool.
To make it more visible, you can make one last copy of this text. So you copy and paste it in place, and we'll make it a little lighter so you can see it better. There you go.
Perfect for like a Halloween-y type poster or something like that.
So you get all these weird shadows because we messed up with the text and it's not on a straight line, which is really nice.
Really cool.
So that's
really
why the blend tool is my favorite. You can just do so much.
Just one tool and so many little things that you can do.
Exactly, yeah.
This is so cool.
So another cool tool that I found out about not very long ago is the gradient mesh tool. That's what it's called. And you can make these weird jelly looking bubbles, or you can call them whatever you want. These look like beans, but
yeah, jelly beans.
But I got the same effect of this. I made a match. And this is done using the same effect. So this gradient mesh effect. So you can basically get your pencil tool or brush tool, whatever, to create any kind of shape that you want. So let's say I'm going to create a weird looking one. You can then go to envelop, distort, and make with mesh, which is the same effect that we used for the lines. But this time it's going to be cooler, I think. So you select how many columns and rows you want. And then you can still move it around. And you can also, if I'm not wrong, you could also change the colors. So with the direct selection tool, you select the points that you want, and you should be able to change the colors of that. Why isn't it doing it? Anyways. I'm not getting it sometimes. I don't know why. Probably doing something wrong, but.
No, it's because you've done so many. It's one of those things, isn't it? Going back and I'm like, oh, what did you get?
Anyways, you can make any type of shape and fill it in with the colors you want. So you can choose which points exactly you want to change the color to. And you can get something like this, which is pretty cool because you can make really anything.
It is really cool. And you know, I've just realized, Margherita, this happens on Adobe live streams. We get so into everything. And then I realize it feels like we've been chatting for 10, 20 minutes. We've already been chatting for 43 minutes. 43, where's the time gone? But you know, any questions that you have for Margherita, everybody, or any potential new videos that Margherita could make in TikTok, put them in the chat. Jackie says she's still on the first fluffy one. That one's so good. But let me tell you all about what's coming up this week, because we've got a jam-packed week on the live streams, of course, for you all. And today we're kicking off, you know, with Illustrator Magic. On Wednesday, Joe and Tony will be here for a 2-hour special. And I believe they're going to be doing InDesign and active design. So we've got the master and the teacher together for the, you know, a 2-hour session. So that's going to be great with Joe and Tony. And then on Friday, we've got, I'll put this down here, bear with me, Charles Carter, he's back. And he'll be doing travel photography, making some edits. So definitely tune in on Wednesday for a 2-hour session, and Friday as well. So Stuart's happy to hear that InDesign's being covered, of course. Amazing. So yes, any ideas for Margherita for any more TikTok streams and anything like that, get it in the chat today. Is there anything you want to see Margherita cover in these TikTok videos? So let us know. And I think we've got, do you think we've got time to fit in a couple more, Margherita, from your?
I think so, yeah. Sure.
Definitely.
And we can do this one as
yeah. I was gonna say, what's the world? You've got like the world. Oh, that's
I've got
cool.
this like it's like a sort of like a paper effect with shadows, paper cutouts. We can do this.
Kathy's got an idea for you for a future stream: metallic design.
Oh yeah, I've done a couple of those, but on Photoshop. I haven't done any in Illustrator yet. So I've done I think one tutorial which is how to turn anything into gold.
Nice.
I did in Photoshop, which was really nice. So I definitely want to do more of those.
For sure.
So we start off by making a rectangle, which is as big as our artboard. And then on top of that, I'm going to make a circle. You can make it as big as you want. Doesn't have to have a.
And when you're choosing something like this, Margherita, do you note that it's like, you know, each one is like 5 steps? Like, is there a pattern to this? Like normally it's within a minute, of course,
Yeah.
but is there? It's always like, especially if you've got the blend tool, it's really straightforward, right? 3 or 4 colors and you're done, right?
Yeah, I try and make them as short as possible. Also because I want to make tutorials for people that don't know how to use Illustrator, so it wouldn't make sense to me to make complex and long tutorials, because it wouldn't appeal to people who don't really know how to use the programs yet. So the easier and straightforward they are, the better, I guess. So I'm gonna go with this minus front within the Pathfinder. So it's basically gonna cut out this circle from the rectangle we did. So let's unlock the background so we can change color to it. We'll make a bright blue, and we'll make this a darker blue maybe. All right, so now we're gonna make let's do some clouds. I use shapes for basically anything. So I do clouds by just placing a bunch of shapes together. Then I select all the shapes that I made. And you just click on this little icon in the Pathfinder, which is the Unite icon, which will merge all the shapes you did together, which is really useful. Oh, I missed one. And then I'm just going to duplicate this cloud and make it smaller, place it somewhere else. Then let's grab the ellipse tool again, and we'll make some hills. And we're going to make these brownish, or let's go with green. Maybe green's better. So a darker green and lighter green. And maybe we could also add some trees, some little trees. So I'm just going to make a triangle. And duplicate it a couple times. And then same thing as we did for the clouds, we're gonna click on the Unite option. And then we're just gonna duplicate it, bring them, move it, make it smaller. Right.
So quick, isn't it? So quick, just shake.
We're now gonna go to our layers, and we're gonna select all the items we made. So you select all the shapes you made, and you bring them underneath your first shape. And we're basically done. You then select everything. You go to Effect, Stylize, Drop Shadow, and you're going to add a shadow, which will give it that paper effect.
Yeah.
And that's it. The more items you add, the better it's going to look. You can then also bring it into Photoshop and add a paper texture or anything like that, which is really cool.
So cool. And again, so easy, just for shapes.
Yeah, exactly. Shapes and Pathfinder.
Amazing.
And that's it. You can make lots of cool stuff.
This is a really good way to get into Illustrator, for sure. You know, really simple, easy things to build up your skill.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. We have time for another one.
Definitely. We've got 9 minutes. Oh,
okay. Let's make this one. I think this looks nice. All right, so type tool, and you write your letters or your text, whatever. Doesn't have to be one letter. It can be a word or something else. We're going to go to type and create outlines. Now we're going to swap the fill and the stroke. And then with the direct selection tool, these little dots will appear, and you can round the corners of your fonts. So for this effect, I don't know why, I just prefer to have a rounded font. You can just round the edges.
Really cool. Gail says, can't wait to try all of the effects. I can't wait to watch the replay. So good.
So you go to object, path, offset path, and it's going to make another copy of your path. If it's a negative number, then it's going to make it on the inside of your letter. If it's a positive number, it's going to put it on the outside. So we're going to go with -10 and press OK. And then we're just going to hold down the Shift key and the down arrow to place it on at the bottom of our letter. And then you just repeat the same thing. So you go to object, path, offset, and bring it down. And you just continue till you reach the end of your letter.
Very cool.
And this is one effect.
Just repeat, same, yeah. And it looks so good when you're finished as well. So good. Stephen says, nice, really great and simple effect. I agree.
Agreed.
Yeah, these are so good, aren't they? Just to get into it, because I know there was a bit of chat, a bit of conversation before about how scary it can be learning a new app and taking the time to really get into it. But I think little exercises like this, little by little. Yeah, Sandrine says 3 of the same steps. Action. Yeah, equals action. Yeah. Very true.
So you get this like a 3D looking letter, which is so cool.
That is cool. Jackie says it's great that somebody shows us the little steps. Jackie, I completely agree, because it is daunting sometimes. I mean, for me, totally. So, and yeah, Daryl says a fill of different colors would also look awesome.
It would. Yeah. Yes, it would. Definitely.
Jackie says almost worth joining TikTok for. Do you know what though? TikTok, it is so much fun. I gotta say, you can spend hours. The dances alone are just fun. I can't do any of them, by the way. I'm a rubbish dancer, but it's just so much fun. But yeah, it's so good though for tutorials. There's lots of learning on there, and hacks.
There is a lot of people who are teaching just any type of thing, not just in graphics, but in general, in anything. You can basically learn how to do everything from recipes to cooking to dancing or graphics.
Totally. Do you, Margherita, you do Instagram as well, right? So I follow you on Instagram already. I think, have we got your Instagram name up on the screen? Or maybe Tim, if you could pop it in the chat, as you can follow Margherita on Instagram as well. Margherita Vox, that was it. Yes. There are a couple of Margheritas in there, but it's Margherita Vox, one you need to find.
Yes, I have the same username for all social media. So
perfect.
It's easier.
Margherita Vox. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's lots that you can learn on TikTok for sure. I've learned that oat flapjacks, they do a really neat recipe, and it's like 3 ingredients or something, and it's like the most amazing. It's really good. Really good. So, what's next, Margherita? You know, you've mentioned that you're going to kind of scale down the amount of videos that you make for TikTok, and you know, also look into some new apps like After Effects and things like that.
Yes.
What else do you see, you know, in the near future?
I was thinking about a clothing brand, but that's pretty time consuming. So
Yeah.
it's just a thought for now.
Ah, okay,
But
cool.
I'm thinking it would be really nice to have like some of my designs or graphics on t-shirts or something else. But I'm still kind of thinking about it because my days are pretty full right now.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, you mentioned earlier, you know, that some of the TikToks that you've shared already have had millions of views.
Yeah,
And it's just, it's so mad, isn't it? Just, it's another vehicle to get your content out there and,
it
you know,
is.
to
It
share with the world.
really is. It's really crazy to think of 3 million people watching an
Yeah,
Illustrator tutorial.
it is. And especially where you can kind of direct people. So if you've got a lot of people watching your TikTok videos and they're only a minute long, you can then pull them to a YouTube stream, maybe to, you know, to go deeper
Yeah.
on different topics and join live streams to cover
Mhm.
lots of different techniques in one stream, right? So there's lots of, you know, it's a good business model to start with TikTok, get in there, you know, bring your viewers across. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's good tips. Well, it's always good to watch the replays back because you can pause it and stop it at any time, and you know, pick up all of the tips that you've learned from Margherita today. And all of our replays are on YouTube, of course. And Jane has very kindly shared links in the chat today to a couple of different streams I've seen. So thank you for that. And Margherita, it's been lovely chatting to you today and getting to know you. And I will watch your stream with Joe as well now because I really want to look at how you're producing these videos to get these on TikTok because then that's the final piece. The missing piece
Yeah.
for me is I haven't watched those yet. Any quick tips that you can give to anybody that's thinking about starting in Illustrator before we leave today?
It, don't be scared. Start off with the easy stuff.
Yeah,
And don't get discouraged if you can't get it on the first try. You can always go back and you can always go learn something new. And it's got so many things you can do. It's such a cool program. You can do so much on. So just keep trying. Don't be discouraged at the first time you fail.
definitely. As Stuart says, keep playing.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. I completely agree. I've made a million notes today. Just, you know, all the bits. The blend tool is a new tool for me on Illustrator. So, you know, Tim says, if first you fail, try again. Love it. Very, very good. Well, Margherita, it's so great to have you on. It would be lovely to have you back to cover even more quick tips and things like that. So,
Of course.
you know, really
I
appreciate
would
it
love that.
today. Definitely. And everybody see Wednesday for the 2 hour stream with Joe and Tony. And we'll see you all soon. Thank you, Margherita. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.